1 year ago today, I ordered a lightsaber from Theory Sabers, Star Wars Theory's lightsaber company, as the Disney ones weren't really fulfilling me and what I wanted. I was looking for something with a bit of customization, color changes on the blade, and just something that felt nice to hold. After about 3 days in transit, I received this in the mail. Was a little bit damaged in transit, but overall I was very impressed. The sleek design, the red and black, it all mixes very well, and it only gets better inside the box. There's a good chance you've seen the video, but I did a review on the lightsaber I purchased, and I had a lot of positive things to say. But now that it's officially been 1 year since I've made that purchase, and it's aged a little bit, I wanted to look back and see if this saber still holds up today. Now, before we get into it, it's important to note that this was a budget saber. This was one of the cheapest options. It was the Alien saber. There are significantly more expensive and more detailed versions out there, but this is the one that I wanted because I wanted something that was not too expensive and that was going to give me that customization. The other thing to note is that this is the RGB baselit hilt, so it's not the higher end of blade customization. So I'll play around with this in a little bit, but let's have a look at the actual hilt itself first. So this is 1 year going on. It's a little bit dusty, but overall it's very, very clean, very sleek. There's no scratches or anything on the hilt. It's very, very up-to-date, modern, and still looks in pristine condition. This is also something you can take apart as well. Even doing this throughout the months to charge it hasn't really damaged or worn anything, even to get to the charging station, which is just through here. So this is still fully operational, the soundboard's still going, the battery is still intact, which is fantastic. So yes, there was something very long time ago, I don't know if it's still an issue, but that people were twisting this and it was destroying the lightsaber. I've not had an issue. I've literally, when I've been charging it, I've just been keeping it in this exact way. I chuck the actual connecting USB-C section into here and then into the charger, and that does the job. I don't ever take this out. Now, as for the blade, we are looking at the longer blade of the two options that they offered on the website. This cone top was very different to the more rounded top that the Disney Sabers offered. I think it's better because I feel like it more accurately depicts what a lightsaber looks like, particularly in the prequel era, which I know Star Wars Theory is a big fan of. In terms of the blade though, there is a little bit of wear and tear. There is a few scratches on here, bit of dust, but you know, that's my fault. The scratches may also be my fault, but let's not talk about that. Naturally, it's plastic. It's going to scratch when it hits things. I have knocked this against a few other lightsaber things, and it's been fine. It hasn't broken. It's still held up substantially well. The response time between the blade and the hilt is very good as well. I think, obviously the blade is it's a plastic tube, it's not anything, but when this gets hit, the saber knows and it makes a noise. So that's what you want from one of these sabers. Let's go and ignite it up. I've got it on mute at the moment. I'll chuck the lights off in a little bit as well. But as you can see, it still comes all the way through. There's still that little bit of that line that comes through there. It's not too noticeable, especially when you are out swinging it, but certainly it's not as proficient and as exuberant as the blue down here in comparison to this side, and that little line is just obviously light doing what light does. The feel of the saber is also very good. It's very balanced. It's not too heavy, which is very important. The controls are one thing I want to touch on. In the instruction manual in the saber and also on the website, they don't make it very clear on how to actually use the controls on this. I do have a video because I made one in response to the lack of instruction in this actual set that explains all the functions, how to do it, how to control your one button Theory Saber. I'll link it down below. It's also in a title card at the moment. But once you do understand it, it's very, very easy to use. You do have to kind of commit it to memory, and certainly in longer periods of time, maybe when you aren't going to be using this, maybe you'll start to forget it. But at the end of the day, there's always those aids that are online, like my video, to help you with figuring this out, because it's not easy straight away. I remember when I took it out of the box at the start, it was on the highest volume, it was a clashing blade effect, I couldn't tell what was going on, I just shut it down and hoped for the best, and kind of figured it out as I went. Alright, so I've got the lights off now, and I'm going to go ahead and ignite it so that you can see kind of how it looks in the dark. Now, there are 12 sound fonts, so that is not the only ignition sound. I will play a few for you now, but certainly this is one of my favorites. I believe it's I think it's the Kylo Ren one. Let me give it a swing around and confirm that. Nope, I think it's the Leia sound effect, but that's okay. I like this one as well. So, in igniting this blade in the dark, kind of speaks to one of the cons I want to talk about with this saber, and that is its limited usability to get its full potential, I suppose. This is clearly very bright. It clearly sounds fantastic, but if we were to flick the lights on, it won't look as good. And that's where this is really a nighttime use thing or an indoor use thing when it's starting to get dark, maybe with the blinds closed, rather than an outdoor in the sun or during the day sort of thing, which is a shame because obviously that's probably more of the time you're wanting to use it, but it doesn't look as good in the light, especially outside. I have tested it. It's very pale. Some colors you can barely see. Some colors you can't see, like a green or a yellow, etc. A blue and a red normally you can see a little bit of, but it's not that good. Anyway, it's still got the sound effects as well. You can still blaster. You can still see the blade responds and reacts. We've still got the clash as well. It sounds great. Let's go ahead and switch it off now. Now we're going to go ahead and change the color. Let's change it to cyan's okay. Let me see if there's another one that shows it better. The white's not too bad. You might be able to see, I'm going to hold it up to the camera so you can have a closer look. But there is some of that scratching I was talking about before and the dents on the saber. Actually, you're probably not going to be able to see it. It's too bright. Anyway, that's alright. There is some scratching that is evident on the blade, which is a shame, and that is certainly one of the cons. Again, I do understand it's plastic. You just kind of wish it wasn't like that. And again, certainly it shows better in some colors than others. Let's go ahead and change the sound font. So to do that, we have to hold it in for 2 button pulses. This one's okay. All right, so let's ignite it now. Sounds different, looks great, we love it. The next thing I want to talk about in relation to this saber is the blade security. Now, I'm going to hold it up again to the camera and you might be able to see it, but there are certain little metal screw things that are on the outside. They do stick out a little bit, but not too bad, that hold the blade in place. The blade slides in and out and they hold it in. Most of the time, I've not had any issues. Sometimes the blade has completely fallen out, and that's where this blade scratching comes back into it, because if you screw these in too tightly, it's going to dent the blade, and you don't want that. You don't want a dented blade from the screws, but you also want it in securely enough so it's not going to fly out when you're swinging it around. So it's kind of a balancing game. You've got to figure out what you are willing to sacrifice and what you're wanting. At the end of the day, probably you do want it securely tightened. Otherwise, you are going to end up with more blade scratching than you would with just the little screws. But that is something to keep in mind. The last thing I wanted to talk about that I've certainly noticed is that obviously this is an RGB saber or RBG saber, whatever the abbreviation is, the red, green, blue one, and it's hilt lit. So the light comes from the hilt and moves up the blade. That's why there's this line at the end that looks a bit brighter than the rest of the thing. Obviously, if you're buying this, you're going for a budget saber. That's what I wanted. But I will say, in comparison to the pixels and the other blade types that are significantly better and also more expensive, this really looks quite poor. The ignition is done very quickly. it's very monotone in what color it is. Whereas with a pixel or a Profi, I think it's called, you would see that slow ignition, or not slow ignition, but the ignition go up. You have all the blade customization. You have heaps of customization with the blades on a Profi or a pixel, which is a shame not to see in this. But again, this is a budget saber. So if you are going this route, this is what you're getting. When you look at this hilt and this lightsaber and the product it is, how it's presented, how it's packaged, how it comes, and the treat that you are given, you feel like you are paying for something exclusive. You feel like you are paying for something that is worth every cent of your money. That's why I really highly rate Theory Sabers, because it is class and high customization at a relative and reasonable price. So, does a Theory Saber lightsaber still hold up? Well, the easy answer is yes, it does. It's only got the things that I loved about it when I first purchased it, but I have noticed that there are some cons and negatives that have popped up across the road. I don't use this every day. I'd probably say maybe once every month, just to have a little bit of a play around with. But at the end of the day, those cons aren't a massive issue. For what you're paying for and for what you're getting, it's still a very high quality saber. And I would implore you, take advantage of any discounts or sales that Theory Sabers has on their website. If you sign up for their email registration link or whatever it is on their website, you'll get notification of those deals and those offerings. I would highly recommend, because I know I've seen recently that you can get 2-for-1 deals, you can get mystery sabers, and there's big discounts normally around holidays as well. So certainly take advantage of those, because you will get serious bang for your buck. Thanks for checking out the review, and I hope to see you in the next one.